at you. Great episode today that a lot of you have been anticipating for a really long time. The AEA Harpoon was something I definitely knew I needed to get for content, but I also thought in the back of my mind, this shit's probably a gimmick. I hope I'm proved wrong in today's field testing, but we'll find out together. Now, the very first thing on a lot of people's mind is, what is an AEA Harpoon? The AEA Harpoon is a cartridge-based air gun that comes in 2 calibers. Now, luckily for you gentlemen, I've got both calibers here on one rifle, rifle, pistol, rifle. Today, one package here for you today, so that we can go ahead and see the side-by-side ballistic testing of not only the 45 caliber, but the 50 caliber this comes in. If it does well and it proves reliable, we're also going to go ahead and pull the barrels off of it and use it as a 12 gauge double barrel shotgun fire, as Jim at Texoma Precision Pellets kind of alluded to. Let's go ahead and do the very first part of this puzzle, which is getting these cartridges loaded. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do step by step to get this thing in the fight. Now, these are the 2 cartridges that I got in my box here. They're rated for 5,000 PSI, but I don't have a compressor that goes to 5,000 PSI, and I'm not the kind of guy who overcharges, a pneumatic device past its working pressure. So I'm only going to 4,500. Today we'll get to see the performance at that level, and we'll also go ahead and see what it takes to change these burst discs out in the back to make this whole thing work. The burst disc is the consumable piece of this puzzle. Just like the super unreliable Defender 2s, it kind of runs on this strike the back half of the cartridge idea, and then the front half lets go. Grab another burst disc out of the probably 100 that are supplied there. Put it on the back of the cartridge. Hand tight. Seems fine. Now, as you guys can kind of see, this whole process is pretty much like cap and ball cold, right? Slow as a flintlock when it comes to reloading these things. We haven't even gotten to the charging, the bullet adapter, or the loading into the barrel portion of this, so that the idea of reloading this in the field is ludicrous to say the least. So the only thing I can hope for is that these big fat cartridges make big fat power on those targets downrange, and that makes up for it. Now, also supplied in the box, you're going to find this threaded adapter with a male Foster fitting on it. This is also rated for 5,000 PSI. Just kind of screws into the end of the cartridge. It's going to take me a significant period of time too, also because unlike my Defender 2 cartridges, I don't have the dual fill port manifold that I do hope to one day acquire from Jim at Texoma Precision Pellets. As you can see, I'm using absolutely no fill whip on this tank, so I can use the least purge loss possible every time I fill these little cartridges. Right to 300 bar on the tank, well, right under 300 bar. Get a little temperature loss when you fill these and let them sit overnight. Hopefully it's charged, I don't know. You never know. When you have a cartridge with no gauge, you don't know if it's charged or not. Next cartridge. We are this far into the episode, and we have taken absolutely no shots, so that should tell you the cadence you're going to be looking at. Makes the same Defender noise, just on a grander scale. Hopefully it goes off. I mean, I'm doing everything that the factory is expecting me to do, and I'm doing it on camera for you. So if you see me make a mistake, definitely do let me know where I made it. All right, now you got 2 highly charged cartridges. What next? After this point, just go ahead and take these 2 adapters. Usually if you have the same caliber barrels, they'll be the same size, but I've got 145 cal and 150 cal here because of the testing we'll be doing today. You just kind of thread these guys into the end of the cartridges. Now, I wanted to have the absolute most even test possible today. So I've got 244 grain, 245 grain, 495 Lucky 750 caliber, and for the 45 caliber offering, I've also got 245 grain slugs from Jim at Texoma Precision Pellets in the dead soft lead variety. So 245 grain versus 245 grain, the only difference being the caliber, filled off the same tank. It's pretty even testing no matter how you look at it, unless you're being a dick about it. All right. This should work. Everything should work. Man, I got my best intentions here for this one. Like I said, I feel like looking at this thing, the way it works versus what it is, it seems like a gimmick on paper. So I'm hoping the performance is stellar to kind of make me feel differently about it, right? I want to love this thing. All right, we do have our chronograph. We do have our cartridges with bullets on it, which makes me somewhat fucking nervous. Let's see. Just slide the .45 caliber one in. Slide the .50 caliber one in. Close the breech. Seems solid. I'm definitely doing things in slow motion right now because I have never fired this gun in my life, and it's kind of convoluted to even get it ready to shoot. So I want to make sure everything is right before I do so. Pulling it off safe. Using a bore-sighted red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot. ERR3 on the energy. That's super. No energy whatsoever. Which one went off? Left side went off. So that is going to be the .45 caliber cartridge. All the way through that board though, no problem going all the way through that board. Let's work on the energy more than the accuracy for the .50 caliber. And firing. Click. Oh, this is the same type of problems we had with the Defender 2. This is the exact same kind of problems we had with the Defender 2. We have a struck burst disc, but somehow between the point where I filled it versus the point where we stand now, we have a leak. I don't know what the deal is. That's an interesting eventuality. We don't even get the .50 caliber result. .50 caliber goes in the .50 caliber side. That's where I really got to be careful. Okay. Cock it. Okay. Energy is all I care about right now. Please give me some energy. .531 with a 247 grain bullet. So you're looking at roughly Dragon Claw energy from this package. That automatically, right out of the gate, that's a redeeming factor for me because ultimately, if you look at it, let's go back in history 10 years. 10 years ago, the Seneca Dragon Claw in .495 caliber was touted to be one of the top tier power producing big bore air guns. Inside of that, 10 years in the future, now we've got something that's 1/3 the size, making the exact same energy, even though it's only doing it once every 5 minutes with this type of a reloading system, right? There's give and take here, but we are moving forward along the path of airgunning. What I want to do next is go ahead and change the cartridge once again, refill this thing, and try and get the energy for the .45 caliber side the same way we did for the .50 cal. Because, I mean, what's the point of having two different barrels out here to test with if we're not going to get the data for both? Valid fill that time. Overcome all the shortcomings human error can put into the equation. Now ready to take my one shot of glory. Always keeping it pointed away from me, right? Because, I mean, this is the power plant. Don't point this at yourself when you're putting bullets in it. I'm just going to say that. I'm not lucky. I'd be the guy it happens to. Energy, please. Please give me energy. ERR3. Again. I'm going to go for it again. I don't care. I know there's going to be people out there that say, this is not a good review. You should have been more professional in your review. But if you think that the average dude is going to have any different of a day, then you're sorely mistaken. I mean, this is the real way. This would work out for most people. If they had my equipment, they'd be dealing with the same thing. Safety works. $499. So that's pretty cool, because what did we see there? We saw a very, very, very similar energy with an exactly same weight projectile, and this was a few fills on the cartridges down in the tank, which means we have less pressure on that shot than we did when we initially measured with the 50 caliber. It's not that bad. I wish I had the ability, I fucking wish I had the ability to use this as intended and use it as a double barrel shotgun. But realistically, with one suspect cartridge, I'm never ever going to push the limits of a mechanical device that runs on pneumatic pressure. I'm too much of a pussy. Also, due to the fact that we have that suspect cartridge, I'm probably not going to be able to answer every single question that every single person wanted to see answered on this episode. However, I can go ahead and show you whether or not this is going to shoot a shotgun shell in 12 gauge from at least one barrel, right, with the one good cart that I do have. Okay, now the premise here is that this tiny little package, which is absolutely pistol sized, is supposedly able to go ahead and shoot 12 gauge shot shells. We're gonna see that right now. Hopefully it'll all work. I do have good faith in this based on the fact that it is able to accept that size projectile. I'm not putting an oversized projectile in a bore. I do have everything stock working for me as far as propulsion, right? It's a factory cartridge. There's nothing else changed except for the fact that we've removed the barrel and we're gonna put a larger projectile in front of it. So this should be fine. Oh, fuck, I almost dropped all of them. All right. Super sick. 12 gauge box of shot shells. Bunch of them. And what we're gonna do with this guy is we're just gonna go ahead and slowly feed this just finger tight into the end of that thing. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to do, right? It's now in there. And if we hopefully have anything we can see in there, you can see that there is a shot shell in that bore. I'm gonna take the cartridge. I'm gonna put the cartridge behind the shot shell. Theoretically, this should work. Cocking it gets very sketchy when it's this small, so I'm gonna do so carefully. All right. Okay. This is small. This is short. This is short, very short. Not a lot of control surfaces. Everybody on the internet's scared of doing this, so I have been asked to do so. I told them I would, and I'm not a fucking puss, so I definitely will. Fire. Holy shit, it did work. 655 feet per second, dog. Wow, the best velocity all day. Fire. What just happened? Fire. 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 Wow. Bro. Not horrible. Not horrible. Dude, I could totally live with that. Not bad. Instant redemption. Instant redemption. Okay, so my mind has immediately changed about that because there's obviously a camera that's watching my chronograph now, right? We've graduated up in the world and we have the ability to show you guys. But 655 feet per second is the best velocity we've gotten all day long. On the lowest pressure that we have had to bring to the table. I can't be happier. I still have all my digits. I still have all my hands. Nothing blew up. I didn't break my wrist. We're good to go. Man, I was sitting here ready to throw this thing in the ocean, and now I'm like, this is actually somewhat viable. How cool is that? I think it's going to be a great place to go ahead and end this introductory episode on the AEA Harpoon. But if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe for more with that notifications button so you can stay current on the channel as well as when these videos come out. If you really like what you saw today, make sure you share it so somebody else can see it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.